Of the kind of knowledge that you do need to carry over into your astral experiences, or that you wish to carry over because it means a lot to you without perhaps being strictly necessary, you'll find that as you become more and more accustomed to projection, more and more of that material will in fact be carried to the deeper levels of the psyche, so as to be available to you in the projection state. That will happen altogether painlessly and with nothing of the struggles of the small child at school. But it is useful to remember that child so as not to be too impatient with yourself, or to expect to be able to do everything at once without any practice. But the practice itself is fun, like learning a new sport. The joy of a sudden improvement, a new success on the way. Like a sport too, astral projection is achieved by developing faculties which are yours already. It may be, however, that having read this far you still have some questions, of the sort that people very often ask us. Before starting in on the actual training that will lead you into achieving out-of-the-body experience, it is a good thing to make sure there are no lingering worries in the back of your mind about it. Besides, when you can do astral projection, you may wish to tell someone about it. It isn't desirable to talk about it beforehand, unless to someone who can already do it, or to someone who will be learning at the same time as yourself. And the other person is quite likely to ask some of these questions. So even though you yourself may have your mind very happily made up about the whole matter, it is advisable for you to know the answers and to think about them yourself, so that you can see how they work. When you have your own astral experience, you can reinforce the answers from that, but these answers will give you a beginning. Question 1. Supposing when you're out of your body you get lost or forget how to come back. There is no possibility of either of these things causing any problem, because you are not dependent on the rational consciousness to look after them for you. When you are an experienced astral traveler, you will know how to will yourself effectively to go to any place that you have particular reason to go to, and your own body is a place that you supremely have particular reason to go to. And until you are an experienced traveler, you'll find that your one besetting problem is not how to get back, but how to stay out. You'll find yourself liable to click back into your physical body for the least reason, often when there is no external reason at all, but only a transient idea. In addition to this tendency, and in fact it is a reason for this tendency, the astral vehicle that you will have made for yourself will not be entirely free from the astrosome which remains in your physical body. There is always a tenuous connecting cord of very fine astral substance. Sometimes this is referred to in occult books as the silver cord. That phrase is taken from the Old Testament, the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 12 verse 6, where the silver cord is broken, is given as a metaphor for death. The astrosome having gone forth completely and finally from the physical body, there is no longer that connecting link. That concept should not, however, cause us to think of the connecting cord as anything weighty or bulky, even in astral terms. Many people have performed astral travel very effectively for years without ever being aware that they were in any way connected to their physical body meanwhile. If you know the cord is there, and you look for it when you're out of the body, you will probably be able to see it, and this may be reassuring to you. But even if you don't see it, you can be certain it is functioning just as effectively. 2 things more about the cord. It is not just a safety device. With practice, you'll find ways of pulling more strength, or more knowledge as you may need, to your conscious self when out of the body, through the cord. And because it is only a delicate strand of your own astral substance, it is simply reabsorbed on your return. Question 2. Supposing when you're out of the body you lose track of time and don't attempt to come back for months or years. We know there have been rare cases, nothing to do with willed and conscious astral projection, in which a person has gone from normal sleep into a cataleptic state lasting very occasionally for years. Never have these people been practicing any form of occult training. We can say that confidently because the doctors, searching earnestly for some demonstrable cause of this strange occurrence, would certainly have made much of the fact of occult training, had there been any. In the methods we are giving you in this book, there is plenty of material to ensure a healthy and plentiful flow of energy between the various levels of your psyche and your physical body, even before you begin direct work on astral projection. For a person in a reasonable state of health, there is no danger of an abnormally long or damaging state of catalepsy resulting from any of the recommended practices. As to forgetting the time, of course to some extent that happens. Here again, there is a self-operating safety device. In the astral states nearest to earthly consciousness, that is, the states to which the inexperienced will be limited until they are ready for further progress, there is a definite sense of time. In fact, this is one of the ways in which you can distinguish between an astral experience and a mere dream. For in a dream it is hardly ever a definite and true time of day or night. As you become more experienced, you'll be able to go to more timeless regions, but by then you'll be more perfectly in command of the situation anyway. In any case, remember, the gross astral, that part of your astrosome which is in closest contact with your physical body, is still there when your consciousness is elsewhere, and it is at the bodily end of the connecting cord. When your body wants you back, your gross astral will pull you back. Never fear. Question 3. You have mentioned that there is no danger in astral projection for a person in a reasonable state of health. Are there states of health in which you would definitely not recommend a person to attempt astral projection out of the body experience? Yes, there are. These practices should not be attempted by sufferers from heart disease of any kind, high blood pressure, any serious affliction of the nervous, circulatory, or respiratory systems. Minor ailments seem, however, very often to be rather ameliorated, not only by projection but also by the preparatory practices which are given in this book, simply because these practices tend to raise the general bodily tone. Question 4. Supposing you, your conscious mind in your astral vehicle, are attacked by something evil while away from your physical body. The term something evil can be accepted in this context without question. We generally feel that anything which causes us suffering, distress, or inconvenience is evil, especially if we see no sort of reason for the assault, whatever kind of assault. In any case, in the comparatively uncommon case of being attacked in one's astral vehicle by an astral entity, no one splits hairs over it. One is attacked, one defends oneself. How serious are these astral combats? They do seem to be totally serious when they happen, and there is adequate evidence that these incidents are true astral occurrences and not nightmares. But as an incarnate human being, you have an enormous advantage in that all the levels of existence are open to you, from the terrestrial to the divine. You can, literally, escape to another world from your attacker. You can drop back into the physical, as Robert A. Monroe describes himself as having done in the chapter Intelligent Animals in his book Journeys Out of the Body, page 143. Or you can force the fight up to a higher astral level, as the anonymous woman narrator evidently did in one of the histories in The Triumph of Light, Book 4 of the Magical Philosophy, page 241. On the whole, the technique of going higher is more to be recommended, as such vicious entities are by nature of the lower levels. They can thus be thrown off and discouraged from further attack. So you see, if you have aspirations as a modern knight-errant or lady-errant, there is still the chance of an occasional brush with a dragon on the astral, but no one kills anyone, and it is adventure. Question 5. Supposing your physical body is disturbed or molested while your conscious mind is away from it. The dangers of this situation have been greatly overstated by a few writers. Remember, the gross astral does not leave your physical body while your consciousness goes travelling, and the gross astral is the deeply instinctual part of your psyche. It is a good watchdog. If a burglar comes to your house, the gross astral will pull you back to your body just as quickly as it could arouse you from ordinary sleep at such a time. On the other hand, if someone who is well disposed to you tries mistakenly to wake you, be it mother, spouse, or friendly landlady, there may be no success whatever and your body may even be taken by the shoulders and shaken, such things have occurred, without bringing you to wakefulness in the material world. The gross astral knows that no harm is meant. As for the dangers from shock in such circumstances, so long as a traveller is not suffering from any of the physical conditions given in the answer to question 3, these dangers appear to be imaginary, or, truly, they are no greater than the dangers of awaking from ordinary sleep to confront the same disturber. What does matter in learning astral projection is to make as certain as possible that you will not be disturbed. Nothing is more difficult than to form your astral vehicle and exteriorize your consciousness into it if you're expecting at every moment that someone may walk into the room.